Hello and welcome to video 9 in this series of tutorials on the Octatrack 2. These are all really for beginners, but if you've had the machine a while and not got into it or not understood it, then these tutorials, these videos will definitely help you. Just to let you know, I'm pretty much a beginner myself. I've had the machine for just over 5 weeks, but I've been working very hard to understand it and to learn it, so I'm passing everything I learn onto you as I learn it. The other day I was watching a video by EasyBot, as I often do, because he's the kind of go-to guy, very clever guy, who really understands this machine probably better than anyone in the whole world, I guess. And he was showing off a technique that he uses to sample loops from external gear. You might say to me, why bother making another video on the same subject? Well, I am going to do that, but I'm going to kind of really dumb it down as if I was talking to myself, because, you know, a few weeks ago I wouldn't have understood hardly anything in that video. Not that he doesn't make it understandable, but I think there are a lot of people out there, including myself, who need things explained in real detail. So I'm going to really break that down, add a few bits of my own, and hopefully you'll find it interesting and instructive. For my piece of external gear, I'm using the Poly Tracker Plus with a simple sequence on it, and you can use anything you like. Obviously you've got to get it all set up, so we'll talk about that first of all. So the connections are as follows. You plug a stereo audio cable from the, in my case, the Tracker Plus, into the A and B inputs of the Octatrack. That's to get the audio from the Tracker Plus, or whatever you're using, into the Octatrack. Otherwise you won't be able to do anything. You need a 5-pin old-fashioned MIDI lead coming out of the Octatrack. Now my Poly Tracker Plus is a TRS MIDI in, which looks like a stereo mini jack. It's a type B. It's very confusing, this. I want to use my Octatrack with a Dirty Wave M8 that I have. I've had to buy a type A cable for that. That's coming later today, so I'm sure there'll be some videos where I talk about the M8 and the Octatrack, so you have to find out if it's working or not. Poly Tracker comes with a little MIDI female DIN adapter, which I'm using, so you've got to make sure it's all plugged in properly, out from the Octatrack into the track. It could go the other way. I did try that yesterday, but I found it's easier to have the Octatrack as the master. So to make a new project, go to project, we come over to change, yes, all the way up, you know the routine, create empty project, yes. We get this name, project 250705, which is today's date, and we hold Q and no till we get rid of all those letters and numbers. So I'm now going to make a new name, and as usual I will speed the video up. So there we are, that's the name of the new project, external. Press yes, and we are ready to go. Good, so let's just check the settings in the MIDI pages of the two machines. So again, project, come down to MIDI, over to sync, yes. So I'm on transport, send, yes, so press yes. Come over to clock, same thing, yes. So now I'm sending transport and clock. So every time I press play and stop on the Octatrack, the tracker will play and stop, and the two machines will run at the speed that I set, the tempo that I set on the Octatrack. Say no to come out of that. On the tracker, this is probably already set. We go to config, we come down to MIDI, and if we look over here, clock in MIDI in jack, transport in MIDI in jack. That means that both of those are set, so we don't have to worry about that. And you can see clock out is off and transport out is off. So that's good, that's fine. I'll just press pattern to come out of that. Right, so we're all wired up, we're all set up to go. Now we need to set the tempo on the Octatrack. Press tap tempo. It's set at 120 by default. Let's roll the level encoder to the left until we get down to 90. That's good. Say no to come out of that, or you can press the tap tempo button again. We now need to press function and pattern, come over to the right and come down to per track. Scale mode is set to normal, but I want to change that to per track. So I say yes, Now it's jumped from normal to per track. Don't forget the X, the cross, means that it's on, it's ticked. So now the scale mode is set per track, so you can have a different scale track by track rather than a global scale for the whole pattern. That's good, so press no. It's a bit confusing, you think you've done that, and if you say no it's not going to do it, but no is just exit. So a little bit confusing. Now we'll hold function and page. Now it's set by default to 16, so it's a 1 bar pattern. We're going to change that. Now I know I've got a 2 bar loop in this, so I'm going to change this to 32, and if I hold function down and turn the level control once, it jumped, but it jumps to 32. Otherwise it goes in increments of 1, you see. So 32 out of 32, so a 2 bar pattern. Now if you want to move around this screen, you use the left and right arrows, and it kind of goes in a zigzag pattern that way, or with the right arrow it reverses. I want to get down to master, which I'm on. It's set at 16. Again, hold function, turn the level control once to the right, and it's gone to 32. Otherwise it jumped, you see, in ones. So that's worth knowing, isn't it? So the master is set to 32 and the scale for the track is 32. So it's a 2 bar pattern. Say no to come out of that, that's good. So let's just go over the general idea of what we're trying to achieve here. We're going to record our external gear, our poly-in tracker. We're going to use track 7, and then once we've recorded something into track 7, we're going to save that as a sample we can use elsewhere in the machine, and we'll use that sample, that loop, on other empty tracks. Before we go any further, I'm going to make track 8 the master track. So to do that, I press project, I come up to control, audio, yes, track 8, master track, yes, and that's done. No, no, and now you can see there's an M on track 8. Track 8 is now the master track, and everything goes into track 8. All the audio goes into track 8. It becomes our master for the whole lot, and we can put extra effects, extra EQ on that. I've dealt with that a lot already in previous videos. So I press track 7 now, function and page. That's set to 16 and 16. I'm going to change that to 32, 32. So function and 1 tweak to the right with the level encoder. You have to be careful here, because previously when I was on this page I was on the master. That's still underlined, you see. So I need to move the cursor to the top 16, 16. So if I use the left arrow and get round to there, now if I hold function and turn the encoder to the right, and I'm on 32, 32. So that's good. So track 7 is set as a 2 bar pattern. No to come out of that. There's an incredible amount of setting up with this. So what you need to do is, once you've done all that, and before you start sampling anything, save this as a template so you don't have to go through all this every time. I'm doing this at the moment because I want to show you how to do it. So with that record light up, I'm going to press trig 1. That's just a normal playback trig on that first trig, first pad as I keep calling it. Now we press function and record 1 up here, and we put down another trig in the same place, like that. That's a record trig, okay? Now I'm going to press function and that trig again, and you see the colour's changed because it's now yellow, which means it's a 1-shot record trig. If I hold function and bank, you will see that on this track 7 it's very small, but there is a playback trig at the top there on that row that's highlighted, and down here there's a record trig on that first step. So we've got 2 trigs, a playback trig and this 1-shot record trig. Press no to come out of that. It's a very complicated setup, isn't it? Strangely enough, I quite enjoy all this, setting it all up. Right, so next thing, with this setup, it means that the Octatrack will record for 2 bars and then immediately play back what it has recorded. So let's go to function record 1 again, because we need to make some changes here. So record length is set to max. Let's bring it down to 32 because that's the length of my pattern in my Tracker Plus. So record length is 32, that's good. We need to turn the loop off, don't need that, that's the F encoder. Loop off, that's good. I'm going to change the trig 1 to 1-2. I'm not sure I need to do that, but that's something I always seem to do, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to change the source 3 from main to track 8, because it's the track 8, what's coming into the master track, that I want to record. Now I'm going to hold this one-shot trig down, and I'm going to press record 1 so the lights go out, and record 2 so the lights go out. So I've only got record 3 on it. That's the internal. I'm recording something from inside the Octatrack. That means, see, source 3 is lit up there. That's the only thing that's highlighted. If you go wrong here, if you leave a step out, it can really impact the whole thing, so you've got to be very, very careful. If I rotate the level control, this is the master level control, which is at the moment down there, bring it all the way up because I don't want to get a false reading from the volume that's coming out of the Poly-N Tracker Plus. So that's full on now, good. So on track 7, going to double tap the source button, like that. I'm going to rotate encoder A to turn the loop off. Next thing to do, go back to the main page, double tap track 7. Now at the moment, track 7 is set as a static machine and it's looking at slot 7. That's both incorrect. So I now want to make this into a flex track, so I'm going to press the left arrow button, come down to flex, yes. Now you can see there's an F there, so that's okay. Now I'm going to come to the right arrow button, I'm going to scroll up until I see R7 recording 7. So recording 7, that's the R7 recording buffer is set for track 7. We can check that because once we come out of that, it should say recording 7 like it does there. If it doesn't say recording 7, if it's blank, you haven't done it right. We're almost ready to go, you'll be glad to hear. It's pretty incredible the amount of stuff you've got to do, isn't it? Press AED, at the moment that's blank, that's what we're going to see our sample coming in as. Now, we are going to be using the crossfader in this process. Basically, we are going to record our external gear with the crossfader over on the A position and play it back with the crossfader on the B position. And so it's the B position we need to do some work on. So hold the B down and change that from 9 to 16. So A is 1, B is 16. Okay, just to remind you, track 7 is simply being used to record the incoming audio. And then we're going to save those loops for use on other tracks. Now press mix to go to the mixer, and with the crossfader all the way over to the B position, hold the B button down. Using the B encoder, I'm going to change the X direct to min. See? Minimum. So that means that the direct level coming in is set at a minimum. Let go. So this stops all the incoming audio from being heard when the crossfader's over in this position. And that's what we want, because we want to hear the recorded version of the sample in this position, nothing coming in. See? And you'll understand that more in a minute. Now, don't press the B button this time, but turn that top direct value to maximum 127. So press it and it says X direct min, let go and it says direct 127. If you've done that, you know that's right. A little bit more work to do here. We need to go to the main page, so press no. There we are, main page. We need to press amp. Look at the volume control. Hold the B crossfader button down, and we need to press down on the D encoder. Now it's jumped to 7. This is a bit hard to do. This needs to be on 0. It shouldn't have jumped, but it did. So make sure with it highlighted in white there, black and white, that it's set at 0. Let go. Okay. And then once you let go, you need to turn the volume all the way down. Without pressing the B button down, it should read -64, and when you press the B button down it should read 0. So just a reminder, with the crossfader in the A position we're going to hear the incoming music from the Tracker Plus, and in the B position we will only hear the recording. So that was a phenomenal amount of setting up, wasn't it? Right, so we're all ready to make our sample. Going to hold track 7 and yes to arm track 7. Go to the AED. We'll look at the trim window if you like, and as soon as I press play it will run through the 2 bars and it will sample what's on the Tracker Plus. Here we go then. That's in, that's coming from the tracker, and that is the actual recording. If I stop the tracker, that is the actual recording from the Polyend tracker. If you get problems with the timing, sometimes you'll find it won't run in time with the metronome. You need to trim the sample up, but just for the sake of argument we'll say that's fine, that's in. And the next thing we need to do is to save this as a normal sample, because otherwise we're going to lose this. Even if we save the project and we turn the machine off, we're going to lose this recording. So I hold Function and Rec 3 and we come down to save this recording. Yes, get this funny name, we'll give that a proper name, so we'll hold Q and nose, get rid of that. We'll call this Tracker Drums. T drums, yes. So that's saved the sample. Now we've got to assign it to a free static, and that will be number 1. That's the first free static slot, not flex. We're going to use static tracks to play our recorded samples back. So assign to free static, yes, static 1. So if I hold Function and track 7 to mute that, go to track 1. Now if I press play I won't hear anything because I haven't put a play trig down on this first step. Do that. Let's just check what we've got here. 2 bars. So now we should, with a bit of luck, have our recorded sample playing on track 1. There's a slight click on the bass, isn't there? But there we go, it's just one of those things. Little click as it comes in, and that's just the problems with samples, I'm afraid. Let's put another loop in. Let's come over to our Polyend tracker and go with a different pattern. So if I hold the pattern down and go to pattern 4, I need to turn off track 1. By the way, you can mute things by holding Function on the track, or you can do it on the mixer. Hold the mixer down and just press 1. Now what we're hearing is just the tracker coming in the A position. So there's no bass in that, which is good. So we'll sample that now. So we'll turn our track 7 on again. And we can do it here on the mixer page. Turn that off. So track 7, hold it down. We're going to arm it by pressing yes. Let's make sure we can see. Obviously the last sample you recorded is up in the display here, but as soon as I press play it's going to sample that little loop. There it goes, 2 bars. So that's continuing to play. If I move over to the B position, that's the actual recording. It's clever, isn't it? So Function and Rec 3 to save, come down to save this recording. Yes. We'll get rid of that lot. So the sample's saved. Assign to free static. Yes, it will go to 2. There we are. So on track 2 now, if I go to track 2, now I've got to remember to put a playback trig on number 1 there. We'll turn off track 7. There we are, and that's our recorded sample. So here's our track 2 playing. Let's put track 1 in as well. Now they're both playing. Now they're phasing, they're smearing because it's the same thing recorded twice. So we need to do something about that. Let's go to amp and we'll rotate the E encoder to bring this over to the left, and we'll go to track 2 and we'll bring that over to the right. Now let's do something drastic with track 2 in terms of the EQ. So let's go to the filter. We'll change this to the DJ filter. Maybe put some delay on it. Make sure it's synced. Okay, so not perfect, but you get the idea. I brought 2 loops in from my polyend tracker. I could then record some other samples on other tracks, could keep doing that over and over again until I get up to the full 7 tracks that I could possibly use. Obviously, the last one you do, when the first 6 are full up, you save it to slot 7, and then of course you can't do it anymore, so you can only have 7 of these because you've got track 8 as the master. But it's rather good though, isn't it? The basic idea of getting the quantized loops into the machine, I think I've established that fairly well. And like I say, if you do get problems with syncing, if the metronome's not running in time, then go into the actual sample, have a good look at it. You can see straight away that the start is not lining up properly. It's all the way up there. Both of my samples have come from the same loop on the polyend tracker, so they're playing in time with each other, so that's all that matters at this stage. So I'd like to say a big thank you to Matthew, EasyBot as he's known as, for his help. I wouldn't have been able to do this without his original video, but hopefully I've kind of dumbed it down for you if, like me, you've been struggling with the machine in general to understand things like this. But it's definitely a very useful thing, this, isn't it? Because you can get loops in from your external synths, drum machines, and then you can add to them on the Octatrack itself, or use a different external synth and bring loops in from that. There's so much you can do with it. So that's the end of today's video. Please give it a like if you got something from it, and consider subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and you'll see me in my next video.